At this rate, it doesn't seem like Redmi is making any effort. It feels like they no longer have much to offer the Redmi series. The Redmi Note 12S is basically a Note 11S. I could just end this review here and ask you to go watch my Note 11S review. But there are positives, so let's talk about it. This is the Redmi Note 12S, and as I already mentioned before, it's basically a Note 11S. That is to say, if you're looking for an upgrade from the Note 11S, you should look past this one. I actually expect this review to be short since there's actually not much new to talk about. Now, the Note 12S, while it may not look so, it has some minor improvements over its predecessor, precisely RAM and storage. Now, for this region, the Note 12S comes with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. The Note 11S was 6 gigs of RAM and half the storage capacity. Also, this comes more affordable than the current price of the Note 11S last I checked. It is priced at 153k, and that's technically a good thing if you are getting more RAM and storage for less price. However, this will only be a better option for someone that is considering the Note 11S. Also, for devices priced around this category, the 12S still stands tall and is highly recommendable. It is competing with the likes of Samsung's A24, Infinix Note 30 Pro 5G, I think, or Tecno's Camon 20 Pro 4G. I got this unit thanks to Finet Mobile. You can check out any of their stores or reach them on social media. They sell at manufacturer and recommended retail prices. Like most other Redmi phones, you get the Note 12S with its typical accessories, that is a 33 watts fast charging brick and transparent protective casing. The Note 12S comes in a couple of interesting colors. I got the ice blue. There's also a nice green one which I think looks awesome. Design wise, it seems a bit different from its predecessor even when it packs basically the same specs all around for the most part. But I find the build quality solid and I love this matte finish on the rear. It feels like frost glass. Can't tell if it's glass or plastic, won't try to find out. The display should be Gorilla Glass 3 protected at the very least if we are going by its predecessor. The spec sheet I've seen online does not specify. Like most Redmi phones at this price range and upwards, we get an IP53 certification for dust and splash resistance. We also get stereo speakers here and the signature IR blaster, which comes in handy to control your electronics. I've actually never needed to use it, but it's great to have and I hope Xiaomi doesn't get rid of it. If you use Redmi devices, would you miss it if it's gone? I actually feel some users don't know what it is or even that it's there. But moving on, the fingerprint scanner here is on the power button and it works just fine to unlock the device as expected. The display is still 1080p AMOLED with 90Hz refresh rate. It makes for smooth interaction with the UI, but I'm certain some will still point out the fact that Redmi should have at least upgraded this to 120Hz, and I agree, the Redmi Note 12 4G gets 120Hz. Now, while I won't pick that over this, there are some that might. Also, for the love of Snapdragon, regardless of the fact that it's a lesser device. But let's talk about the processor later. The display is a lovely looking one and I have no complaints whatsoever. It will give you that vibrance expected of an AMOLED display and it can get bright up to 1000 nits peak. Using this day to day, much like its predecessor, I find it still a recommendable device. I would have said buy the Note 11S over this, but for the fact that right now this is more affordable, I can't say that. Plus, it comes with Android 13 out the box, so it holds the advantage for longer software support by a year. It gets MIUI 14 and unlike my experience with MIUI 14 on the regular Note 12 4G, this one seems more consistent with performance so far. However, the bloatware apps here can be annoying as it seems to be randomly installing new apps. I noticed a couple extra apps installed as soon as I installed Call of Duty Mobile. Now this isn't a problem though, it's barely an inconvenience to uninstall them. There are also ads within the UI which can be limited if you know your way around Android. I also appreciate the fact that this comes with 8 gigs of RAM and 256GB of storage as the only option while maintaining the competitive pricing. That's for this region. I think other regions get the 6GB option with less storage. It is actually quite interesting that we are seeing budget phones come with more RAM and storage these days. Not Samsung though, the most you get at this price point is 6GB and 128GB storage. But I guess the RAM size matters less and optimization matters more. The Note 12S sports a MediaTek Helio G96, a 12nm processor which is still a solid one for this price point. It wouldn't have been a bad idea for Redmi to go with the more efficient G99. This is already almost 3 years old if I'm correct. The G96 though is certainly no pushover when it comes to performance. There is still not many processors that trumps it at this price, so I'd say it's still a pretty good deal. For gaming, you can play the likes of Call of Duty Mobile at medium graphics and high frame rate, and the gameplay is lag free for the most part. PUBG plays on HD and high frame rate, and you can drop the graphics to balanced and get ultra frame rate option. You don't get extreme frame rate even if you drop the graphics to smooth. Now in my gaming sessions, device temperature was warm and nothing abnormal. Battery life on the Redmi Note 12S is still pretty good. It is 5000 mAh and it lasts at least a day on a full charge, depending on your use case. The camera configuration here is pretty much the same as the Note 11S with the exception of a depth sensor, which I doubt anyone would notice is missing. The main camera remains 108 megapixels and the selfie 16 megapixels. The photos captured by its rear cameras are solid with good color representation, also great with HDR processing. You should be satisfied with the results. The selfie camera, however, is not quite impressive, not as sharp. You need stable hands to get a good shot. Also, HDR processing doesn't seem to work very well. For videos, the Note 12S can only shoot 1080p 30fps from both selfie and rear cameras. Okay, so this is the Redmi Note 12S. It's the selfie camera. Currently shooting at 1080p 30 frames per second. That's the maximum it can do from both the selfie and the rear cameras. Just trying to get its video quality. What do you think? Also its microphone quality. 1080p 30fps. It seems a bit shaky, but that's probably expected.
Hello, it's on photobombing. Hello.
that's
what phone is
this? Redmi Note 12S.
Redmi Note. The camera is actually not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I think it's not stable.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like it shakes.
Just randomly shaking.
Like optical image stabilization is not very good.
It's absent.
Oh, absent.
Yeah.
But the actual quality is not bad.
Lighting.
Look at that shake.
The Redmi Note 12S might not be a very different device from its predecessor, but it surely is still one of the recommended devices for its price. It is not an upgrade from the Note 11S, but it's definitely still a solid option over the regular Note 12 and a couple of other devices at this price point. It is one I can recommend. If you want something with 5G though, I think only Infinix offers a device at this price point with 5G. Sadly, the Redmi Note 12 5G does not come to this region, so if Redmi is your preference, you'll be going for the Note 12 Pro Plus, which is almost twice the price of this. The regular Note 12 Pro 5G also does not come to this region. With that said, the Redmi Note 12S, solid device. You can check my review of the Redmi Note 12 4G or the Note 12 Pro Plus on either of these sides.